I knew this list issue was going to catch up with us.
Sorry about that.
You know, we asked in mid-December, everyone was doing a list in mid-December. It was chum in the water. And so really the National Association of Regional Councils, which is our parent organization nationally, had requested that regions send in nationally projects that are supposedly were shovel-ready from local governments. We made an announcement. We did a quite comprehensive list. Didn't do any priorities, didn't do any assessment of whether it was really shovel-ready, and we submitted those online. Basically what that did is that really helped justify the dollars that were put into the Recovery Act by category. It just kind of bolstered the issue that there are needs to justify the expenditures. But since then, I guess to answer your question, you know, we have that list, and the best we can do is try to match it to potential grants that are already in the process. I will state that, you know, everyone has been aggressive in putting together lists. City of Birmingham, you know, with the mayors associations, Jefferson County has their list. And I think it's very important to note that lists are important from the standpoint of a region understanding what its top priorities are. But because someone put together a list and put a project on it does not necessarily mean it's going to be funded. We have to go through the natural grant process, which is really the message that Justice Neighbors brought out. You know, it's existing money, there's a little more money in existing grants, are really challenged. This is a good time not to be a lobbyist. It's a good time to be not necessarily a grant writer, but someone who knows where the grants are and the rules and regs for those grants. So I think that profession, it would behoove us to find our best grants people. On our staff at the Regional Planning Commission, between Yvonne Murray and Ray Morris and myself on the transportation end, we can cover a lot of your questions about what grants, what projects are eligible for what type of grants.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Holloway.
Good morning. Ivan Holloway, CEO of Financial. This question is to Justice Neighbors, I think. As you probably know, there are a number of small businesses that cannot get access to capital to keep their doors open or to expand. Is there anything in this provision that allows for those nonprofits or agencies to go after additional dollars to provide access to capital to small businesses who are hurting?
This legislation does not explicitly address issues with respect to credit and issues with respect to capital. There are opportunities for business, large and small, through all of the money that is going to be spent, the contracts that are going to be let to get that work done. But problems relating to credit and the seizing up of the credit markets that are making it so difficult for small business is not one of the focuses of this legislation that hopefully is being done elsewhere in the Department of Treasury and the Federal Reserve. But I don't think that it is going to open up channels for additional credit.
Yeah, Mr. Holloway, I'll add one thing is that about the only provision that came out of this act that will help small business is the SBA was allowed to go up to 90% guarantees on their 504 and their 7A programs, as well as they reduced some of the fees on their loan programs in hopes that would help free up, because they're not necessarily a direct lender, but to help the banks and nonprofit organizations underwrite those and take a little bit less risk and hopefully get some of that capital freed up.
Yeah, I'm Danny Patterson, Waste Reduction and Technology Transfer Foundation. This is for a backup. I have lots of cities calling us on a regular basis, want to do energy audits, assessments, they're trying to be more efficient because of the cost of energy today. Can these block grants be used for these projects through the Weatherization Division, but also from the standpoint, can it go through something like an RPC instead of them having to each individual city go after that block grant to take care of those programs for these municipalities?
That would seem to work. I wouldn't think there would be a problem with that.
We're going. I've got one more announcement real quickly. We've
through ADECA and the Alabama Rural Action Commission, which I'm also a part of, former Senator Gerald Dow, we've been going around the state in recent months doing a series of grant workshops. Had great attendance. We've actually got a grant workshop coming up on March 25th at 16th Street Baptist Church, free and open to the public. Bill Johnson, our ADECA director, will be one of the presenters, Senator Gerald Dow as well, and I think they're still working on that program otherwise, but we'd love to invite you to that, come and participate, and you can learn even more about ADECA and everything we do.
Mr. Dixon.
Mr. Foisey answered my question earlier in regards to the list. Thank you.
James CEDS, I'm with the Shelby County Economic Development Authority. In February, at the ADECA CDBG application workshop, the director at that point said that he only thought there was going to be about $7 million coming into ADECA for the CDBG program to be distributed competitively. Is that figure accurate? And also, has there been any consideration as it pertains to those funds? I mean, granted, infrastructure for residential use is important, but has there been any consideration to giving a priority to those funds for economic development projects? For instance, small business incubators, revolving loan programs, things of that actually would have more direct employment action.
I can answer the first part of your question. The $7 million is roughly accurate. I've got a $6 million figure in my mind, but that is the amount that would be developed, available through those grants. I'm not sure I understood the second part of your question.
Well, typically under the application process, communities would apply for these funds competitively. There's a very complicated rating system in place to decide what communities get those funds. The question would be, is there any consideration to assigning a greater value to economic development projects, so to encourage communities to fund projects that actually create jobs as opposed to putting water lines and sewer lines in the residential areas?
I don't know the answer to that question.
I don't know that either. I can certainly find that out. I've not heard anything.
We've got an answer back in the back of the room, I think.
The funding will follow the same formula. The economic development program will receive the same percentage as compared to the other.
Thank you.
Real quick, Ed Gardner, Central County. As far as the 22 plus million that's going to come for the MPO, for the non-MPO counties like St. Clair, Chilton, and the Hurricane MSA, are there any additional funds that will be available for road projects?
The MPO money, the 22.9 is Jefferson and Shelby County. There is, and so on the highway end, Federal Highways got to answer that. I believe there's going to be some distribution to the counties. There's all surface transportation program funds, and the formula that goes, that's distributed is fairly complex. I think there's going to be some monies that go to the counties, but I don't think it's going to be a lot. If, for example, if there's $500 million coming to Alabama overall, automatically 3% of that 500 of the surface transportation program goes into transportation enhancements, sidewalks, greenways, landscaping. Then the DOT would take applications for that extra, $15 million. They get $70 million worth of applications. And I think some of it's going to go down, but I believe the county level is not going to be more than $500,000–600,000, which you generally use for maintenance. On the transit end, there is going to be money out of the $45 million that's coming to Alabama on transit. 19, almost $20 million is going to rural areas. So that will go into the sections 5311 rural. So even though a lot of the rural counties have small transit systems, that money will be bolstered. And then some of the money will go into the 5310, which is elderly, disabled. Karen Peeland, you're here. That'd be kid one would be eligible for that time. That money will all come through ALDOT's multimodal. The good thing about it is all those dollars are 100%. That is a big deal, especially on the transit money, because transit match has always been an issue. So especially in the rural areas with some of the old funds for 50/50, when they become 100%, that is very good.
Hey, you will all give a hand. Once again, the presentation will be on our website. How long will it take, Greg?
Next week.
We are going to repeat this.